I am looking forward to sharing some new and exciting things here on our employee portal product. And the next hour you're going to see a lot of interesting things. Looking forward to this. While we are still waiting for a few people to jump in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly just use up the time to really kind of just show you real quick what I think might be something to keep in mind. You're going to see some interesting things today on our dashboard product. But besides that, there are several other interesting developments here, and I am looking forward to our next client conference, Powwow 2015, which is going to be on May 12th and May 12th onwards in Indianapolis. If you haven't checked this out just yet, I would love for you guys to go and see some of the things that are already out there. You will be able to see all the different pieces that we put together. It is at a beautiful hotel. We love the hotel so much that we are going back to the same Alexander Hotel in downtown Indianapolis. There is a very impressive speaker lineup that has started to show up. I know some of these folks, worked with them in the past, including Sam from Cornerstone, and several other people that are there on the list. Steve is somebody who just retired from Gartner. He works extensively with various companies, and several of our customers here as well. Some of you guys know some of these names right here. So we are looking forward to this. We are going to add some more speakers here in the next few days. We are also excited about our entertainment for Powwow. Of course, the evening where you get to actually dress up and walk the red carpet, the best cheese ceremony. That's going to be there, I believe, on the 14th. And then on the 13th, there is a tour of the Indy 500 racetrack. So those are some exciting things. The agenda is already out there. There's some interesting things that you should be able to see, as far as the sessions, but it is something that we are working on, and we'll continue to add more things. There are sessions on dashboards as well at Powwow. So with that out of the way, I want to actually really get going. I want to make sure we have plenty of people already there. I think we have, several folks. So I'm going to get started here. So dashboards. This is an interesting topic simply because, we've had the dashboard module for a while. In fact, we have several organizations that have used it. We did an update a couple years back and made some changes. I have actually really, gathered that some organizations continue to use the older dashboards for various things, various reasons. So what we've done here is we've added a bunch of new stuff, and we've actually really kind of just, brought back some of the features that people loved in the older versions. Besides that, there are some new additions that you'll actually really, hopefully love. So let me get started by first, really just talk about why you should be thinking about dashboards. Being the CEO here, I have actually, spent a lot of time trying to figure out exactly what's the best way to communicate, the important stuff. And that's where dashboards really are important. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. In this case, dashboards is a great way to really kind of share, what the script is going to look like for the rest of the quarter, rest of the year. If you put some interesting trends and charts out there and tell them what the goal is going to be and see your progress along the way, it definitely goes a long way towards getting everybody's attention. The second reason I believe, that's kind of important, an important piece of what I have experienced here, at Passageways, certainly, to give some of the trends and not just the number. This helps you contextualize, why, we are, asking everybody to pay more attention, get more focused, or we are saying, we are looking in good shape on this number, and so on. So the context has to be, where you are in terms of the overall plan. Are you in the territory where you start to actually really, get past, certain barriers? So there is a way to really kind of build different, various phases and stages, and we'll talk about that in just a bit. The last reason, and this is, certainly the most important one, dashboards are important to get everybody on the same page. We've talked about this in the past. I love saying this. It keeps everybody on the same page, and that page has to be created first. It just so happens that all your employees are going to the portal, and if they are not going there regularly, this would be a great way to get everybody to go to the portal to check the progress on the overall plan for the department, the overall plan for the organization, and so on. The word dashboard is obviously borrowed from some other industry. I suspect probably came from the automobile industry, and got me thinking about essentially why do we call them dashboards. The general idea is maybe it came from the airline industry. I think this helps you drive your business, and that's perhaps is the reason why we continue to all the software vendors call them dashboards. As you think about some of the important things here as you go through this presentation, I would like you to keep these three things in mind as you think about your own dashboards and what you could do with these. These are the three main design principles for crafting a great dashboard. Who's your audience? What value will the dashboard add? If you're not adding any value or stating the obvious, people are not going to actually care for it. And then certainly what kind of dashboard am I creating? Is this a dashboard that actually really helps people really kind of just get to know the status? It helps them make decisions, provide some education. Certain goals around that would be great to keep in mind as you craft these. So now that I've actually really kind of just warmed you up a little bit, I have a question for the audience here, and Stephanie is going to actually really help me get this question out to you guys. It's already built into the GoToMeeting. Why are the dashboards important? To your mind, what's the main reason why this is an important piece of all the enterprise software that you consider? So she's just opened the poll, and there's some choices that you see. If you don't mind, just take a minute and tell us the main reason you think the dashboards are important. We're going to keep the polls open for another 30 seconds here. We are asking you about the enterprise dashboards and not other dashboards that you see somewhere else in your life. So I think most people would be good with this now. Steph, do you see enough responses?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah,
so go ahead. Do you mind sharing with us, what you see here? These were the choices you guys had.
Yeah, so just kind of to give you kind of a quick idea, 81% of you participated in this poll, and the primary driver that you indicated for dashboards is really to communicate progress, success, and drive actionable targets for employees on a day-to-day basis. 31% of you indicated that this is an appropriate tool and important to define what is important and set team and individual goals. 15% of you indicated that this is really beneficial to highlight exceptions or provide an alerting system if your plans go off track. And about 8% of you indicated that this is a great way to help executives sleep at night. And that is kind of a quick breakdown. Yep.
So 85% people feel this is a great tool to communicate progress and success. And 35% of you guys are saying it helps you define what is important and set some team and individual goals. Great. Awesome. Well, that's good to see. The fact is all of these are great goals to have in mind. This is what our research is telling us. Certainly, we feel that this is an interesting part of what you should think about and make sure if you're trying to get executive support for this project, these would be a great way to frame your requirement and really kind of just highlight the need internally. If you're launching your dashboards again, this would be an important way, interesting way to really kind of position them. Steph, are you ready to bring the second question to the crowd here?
Yep, here we go.
All right.
So at this time, we just want to kind of get a feel for those of you in this session today, do you currently have dashboard software that you're utilizing? This could be the Passageways tool. It could be additional dashboard tools outside of your portal that you're using. So go ahead and take a moment here to participate. If you are currently using a tool and 42% are not. For those that didn't participate, not sure if you're just not aware or what that might be, but certainly this kind of gives us an indication. So we're kind of split about 50-50 as far as whether you're using something to visually demonstrate the goals that you have or the progress that you're working towards.
Okay, very good. And there's a quick third question here for everybody as well, so go ahead and open that up, Stephanie.
Yep, so for those of you who are currently using a tool, just want to kind of get a feel for whether you have the Passageways Dashboard tool. Not sure if you're actually using that currently today or if it's something that you're getting ready to implement. If you're not sure whether you have that or not, you can certainly indicate that there as well. And just for reference, if you are not aware, your CSM can certainly get back to you with that information. So numbers are coming in here pretty quickly also. Okay.
Very good.
We're going to go ahead and close that out. At this point in time, I think the good news for Passageways, and for those of you who are in here, 67% of you are currently, or you have the Passageways Dashboard tool. Really excited to see everything that Paroon is going to share with you today. For those of you who currently do not have the Passageways Dashboard tool, certainly we're happy to provide additional information for you following the webinar today.
Very good. Well, thank you, Stephanie. So let's get right to the meat of the presentation here. Before we jump into dashboards, I have a confession to make here. What we did long time back was to give you a way to create various gauges and help you provide a tool for visualizing data. The fact is that the portal inherently allows you to put those gauges right next to each other, and you could have created a dashboard out of that. And that's what we generally, refer to as a dashboard here at Passageways. So certainly, that's something to keep in mind, that you just don't have to build a huge dashboard. You could certainly put just a simple little gauge on your department page, as a way for people to visualize and contextualize whatever you're trying to actually make sure you highlight. Now, in this presentation, we're going to give you other ways to do this and some interesting ideas. There are several ways to handle or approach this particular project. So since most of you guys, 2 out of 3 people on this call, have the dashboards, there's great news. You'll actually really see some examples, and we'll be happy to share these examples with you after the call as well. So to begin with, there are 3 kinds of data sets that people normally run into. There is often a need to really kind of just have a quick little number, an instant, kind of publication that you want to do. So you want to publish a number, and it's a number for how many people do we have for the golf outing, or how many people did we have open a student loan on the first day of school session start, or it's a countdown to maybe your annual general meeting, something like that, or the countdown to the Christmas party. For such small little initiatives, you could certainly use the dashboard module to do a manual entry method. This is so because you're just keeping account of something. You kind of know the number. You just go and update the number. It's the easiest way to do things. It's quick and it's instant. The second kind of number that you actually, second kind of data that you often need to represent on the portal is the one that has a a start, and maybe it's a long journey. It actually is something that needs to be updated frequently, and there is going to be a developing story here. Now, certainly you could keep track of such numbers as well on a manual basis, but you might have a spreadsheet to tally all of this. You might have input coming from various places. So what we certainly feel is the right option for such data and its representation on the portal would be an Excel spreadsheet. The examples here would be loan growth, ROA, charge-off. These are some of the numbers that I gathered from our customer interactions. But these are certainly examples of things that you have on a spreadsheet somewhere, and you can either copy that into the portal and upload a spreadsheet, or you could actually really create a new spreadsheet with just all these numbers and really have them neatly organized and go that way. The third thing that we have here is the SQL format, and this is for the kind of data that you have. It sits somewhere in a system, and almost all the systems that you use today, it allows most of them allow you to do an export of the data that you have in there. This could be an Excel export. This could also be a CSV export. So if that is the case, you can certainly default to the option number 2. On the slide. But if there is data that's sitting inside a SQL server, we've given you a special option here. If you don't want to go through the export and the upload and all of that, it's just data that you want to just link right to the portal. In this particular option, what you see is you'll have to work with somebody on your team who knows SQL queries, and they can actually really work through this particular option. But literally, for instance, if your data is sitting inside a CRM system, or it's in a marketing database that you use, or it's actually really just something that might be in your core system, you could point the portal to that SQL database and have the portal pick up that data and publish that data on a regular basis. I'm going to show you examples of this. One key data set that all of you on this call have is the portal usage data. Who's going where, who's actually really, clicking different pages, who's following different people, and so on. And now it's easy for you to actually really have all of that a dashboard created with all that data on your portal. I'm going to give you those examples. Now, if you don't have anybody on your staff to work with the SQL option, your Passageways team can certainly help you. This is a fairly simple call to set up and go through what you intend to do, and we'll certainly be happy to guide you through that process. Now, the common uses, and that's sort of what framed this presentation today. We feel that sales and performance numbers are great numbers. Everybody's always interested to know about this, and these are some things that these are some numbers that you certainly can think about for your dashboard, for your portal dashboard. Portal engagement, that's another key set of data. Certainly we are a little biased about this particular use of dashboards, but we feel that if the portal engagement is measured and visually depicted on the portal, it will spur more people to really think about who are the portal champions, who are the guys who are actually really using the portal the best, and you can certainly start to measure different things in a more visual manner. Like I mentioned, the third reason would be integration with other systems. We use it internally here at Passageways. In the recent past, we started to really use the SQL option quite well. I also know that we've worked with certain customers on integration of our portal in the past with a system that has a SQL backend. And earlier our SQL backend was not, the SQL option was not as robust. Now we certainly expect a lot more projects where your portal dashboards would be hooked up directly to your SQL SQL-based systems that you use. You can certainly do it at your end, or you could certainly use our consulting team to do this. We'll also do a follow-up education session on that. And the last one is strategic initiatives and projects. I'm going to get to this. This is some brand new stuff that we've been working with a customer, and I'm excited to show you at least reveal the initial screens of what this looks like. So I mentioned that the gauges are not a dashboard. we certainly pulled together a pre-packaged dashboard with all the gauges and the click-throughs and the drill downs for you to look at. And we are going to be showing this particular piece as part of this presentation today. So before I start showing you examples, a few other things to keep in mind. The dashboards module that you have will be updated and will be made available to you guys. We just released it last Friday, I believe. Some new things that we've added state indicators. So for any dial or gauge, now you can actually really go back and define, what's the territory which is good, what's the territory which is actually really starting to get to excellent, and what's actually really, your BHAG or your big, hairy, audacious goal. You could certainly start to define, green, yellow, red, those kind of things. Those are states for any particular data set, and now that's been added back. In fact, we used to have this, and now we have it even more robust and interesting format in the newer dashboards. We've also paid extra attention to making the dashboarding part of our process much more easier. It's easier to create, update, or modify these. We've added a few new gauge options as well. Certainly, we've added the ability to really, dashboard your portal data, and I'm excited to show you that today. And then lastly, the ability to leverage SQL options. All that said, and I should say this is a major upgrade that we've gone through. We are actually really, we want to make sure that, everybody knows that this is, the main focus here has been to make it easy to implement at your end. So you should be able to spend 2 hours and really come up with some awesome dashboards. You can certainly work with our team to do that as well. We are extremely excited about this software, and I want to make sure that you guys know that we want you to have the confidence in making these dashboards be available. You can start with your department. You can certainly have, your business plan for the year entirely be dashboarded out on the portal. It's a great way to surprise your CEO, to really kind of work with your management team. It is something that we hope you all will actually really dig here. So let me now at this point go to the setup that we have. I'm going to start showing you some of what I'm talking about here. Okay. So to begin with, this is a trial setup that we set up here. This is a portal which we have available. And if you want to come back and look at this, your CSM can actually really guide you through this as well. We have set up a landing page here, and I'm going to walk you through some interesting examples of what might be things that you do with these new dashboards. So first, I'm going to talk about some examples that I picked up from some of our customers, and we made available these these examples for you guys to look at today. So for instance, on this particular page, I have various gauges and various different dials set up here. So what you see here is this. The first one is return on asset, and it's actually really showing you exactly where we are at this point. These gauges are really nice. Notice how they are showing you what's red, what's yellow, and what's the green territory. You have various kinds of display options available. You have the bar graphs. You certainly have the radial gauges. You certainly have the pie charts. These are interesting because they actually really are kind of fun to really interact with as well. If you want to look at the data, you now have the option to look at the data table right here as well. That gives you the exact number. You can certainly actually pull that up in any of these examples. If you want to look at a history of the change in this data, you can look at how this number is bounced around between various dates. So those two options are also available. I think this is an interesting addition to some of the stuff that we didn't have earlier, and we've made all of that available. What you'll notice that one interesting thing that we've done here is these dashboards, really do allow you to do what we call as lazy loading. They load up and they actually really get your attention, and once they load up, they actually really kind of just give you the data. You can see how this is still loading up, and it's kind of fun to really kind of see a page really kind of come together right in front of your eyes. So these are some examples. I have ROA here, some loan growth numbers, share growth, net worth, and then non-interest income. Business loan, we say member. Some of you guys use customers, and some of you guys call them members. And then certainly charge-off numbers, membership growth numbers, net membership growth numbers, and certainly the net promoter score. These work exactly like any other islands that you are used to. You certainly see that these are some good examples, and this is, sort of what the new dashboards do. I'm going to actually really show you some other interesting, formats that are going to be available to you. So I'm going to quickly jump into a section that, Anne here in my team, she's actually really worked to, get this going. I'm going to go into a quick little section here called dashboards, because there are several examples today to show you. And let me quickly show you some bar chart samples. So this is a sample which, gives you some sales numbers, sales performance numbers, and you can see by month how each one of these different individuals has performed. On the same page, we have certain other charts as well that are showing you different variations of this. There are several customization options that are available. Now let's look at, this is an interesting option. It's basically the financial, this is basically an option that you have where you can display the movement of a particular equity or stock. So what this is telling you is giving you, what the on this particular this particular equity, what it opened at, what the end of the day number was, what was the high for the day, and what was the low for the day. So you can certainly have that, and you can, certainly have the data source also show up right here. Then we have some line charts, and these line charts are, obviously when you are trying to display different kinds of data, this is a very rich option that you can certainly, use the Excel option for, and really kind of just have all of this show up. Again, the data source option is a great one. It shows you exactly all the data right there if somebody wants to look at that, and you can certainly see the trends here. This is where the trend lines really make a huge difference, and you can see how all the data that's presented here, it tells a different tale altogether. So that's that option. Next, we have some pie chart options. Of course, anybody who's used a lot of pie charts in Excel, you would actually love, what you see here, because it gives you all the different pieces that you want to do, that you typically want to represent here in an option when the data set looks something like this. So, from your sales team, who got the most loans this month? Or from your sales team, who opened the most number of new accounts? So who signed up people for e-statement the most? So at a branch level, you can actually really have a little competition going within your team. You can display that data. It becomes a source of pride for everybody. A leaderboard, gets the salespeople going like nothing else. I know that from having that sales team. So this is a great option for that. And they're very rich in color as well. It really kind of lightens up the entire page, makes the page, really stand out. So if you're trying to grab some attention from your team, this is a great way to do that. Let's look at some gauge samples next. So the radial gauges, these have been there for the past, in the past as well. You certainly have the full 360 or the 180 gauge. You can see a lot of different options here. What we have done is we've added the stages here. So the states here, excuse me. So this is the low, medium, high. It also, gives you, various options. So you can do these differently, a 3-color gradient, some glass style. It guides you through some of this. You can see how this is, when the numbers are in dollars, whereas this is just pure numbers. So there are some interesting options right here. You have percentages and, some decimal, numbers. And here you have some whole numbers. So those are some interesting options for radial gauges. Cylinder gauges, these are just, just showing a number where you are trying to actually really, get to a fundraising goal or something like that. Again, these are interesting examples because they allow you to really kind of just, you can customize the, the visual options. You could just pick different colors. You can do all of that. Again, a simple number, dollar number, percentage, all of those are also, things that you can now do. You also have the donut gauges. These are, obviously another way of doing representation of the data, similar to the radial gauges or the 180-degree radial gauges. And again, very rich in color, and you can actually certainly see how they're interactive as well. So that's interesting. Then you have the linear gauges. linear gauges are great when you're trying to actually just, put a number there and say this is where we're going to be, hopefully by the end of the quarter, and you can show the progress and you can see exactly where you are with that. Several options, horizontal as well as vertical. You can have the horizontal option. This is especially good when you're trying to squeeze in a real small gauge in a small little corner in the portal page. There are various sizes available as well. So this is the large size, but you can certainly go and make this into a medium or a small size. It'll show the entire data in much smaller, spot as well. Then you have the counter gauges, and these are just, you're just showing a number. That's all you're trying to do. Net Promoter Score or something like that, where you don't want, any other charting option. You just want to put a number in front of everybody. This could be a goal, or this could be achievement numbers, and these are great as well. And then the last one is a thermometer, where you have the ability to really kind of just, show people where we are in a certain something. If you live in the Midwest, Chicago, Buffalo, or, Minneapolis, this would be a fun one to just show the temperature for everybody, how cold it is today. So those are some of the options that we have. These are very rich options. We've looked at various numbers internally, and what we found is that you'll always have several options for various things that you're trying to do. Now, I talked about the portal usage. So I'm going to actually, quickly show you some of those options, and then, Stephanie is going to actually really help you understand some of this a little later. So the SQL option is being used to generate these gauges, the next set of gauges that you see here. So what you're seeing here is if you use the employee recognition app from Passageways, you certainly now have a real-time way to represent the data on the portal. In fact, you see that there are 69 high fives. We just call the employee recognition. We send each other a high five here internally at Passageways. And Stephanie, if you don't mind, if you can send a high five to somebody from our company portal, you'll see this number change very quickly. You also see that this is high five grouped by, by different individuals, and you can see who's getting how many of those. Then you have by month, various ways to represent that data. This is just employee recognition number. So if you want to promote the employee recognition program, whether you call it high five or you want to call it stars or you want to call it thank you, whatever you call it, you can certainly represent the portal data in this format. And the neat thing about this is if somebody actually really send a high five in almost real time, this number will actually really be picked up by the portal. So right here you can see that this number has gone to 73 because I believe various people have sent different, high fives here. So you can see that this data set is actually really just, showing you all of this, in real time. And that's interesting because you can just set it up once, and then after that it'll always pick up the right data and it'll show you that number because it's going right to the SQL backend of the portal. Let's look at some other examples. If you use our help desk module, here's an example of how you can dashboard out some of the data from the help desk module. Again, keep in mind if you already use our portal for these modules and the data is sitting in there and you've always wanted us to really do something with it, this is it. We are showing you a way to really kind of represent that data in different sections of the portal. You can certainly display all of this just with the right themes because the portal allows you to represent the data at the right spot from the portal using roles and work groups. You can also create a section for the portal team the portal team really is typically, looking at the usage and the adoption of the portal. So these are examples of things that you can now do to see what are people really using. So right here you can see, various help desk tickets and, names of people who are doing that internally. Now, right here, this is an example of, again, if your strategic focus area internally, is, there are multiple focus areas for the organization often. What we've realized is most organizations are thinking about, using the portal technology for, for making sure that they're making their culture is well reflected, and that's a key initiative, and that's why portal team is focused on that. Or you're trying to drive efficiency in your organization, or you're trying to improve your service levels to your customers, or you're trying to drive growth. Now you have ways to represent that data internally, and we can actually really, work with your team in getting to some of that data. Right here, what you see is the users followed within the portal, and these are examples of, in the portal there's a, employee profile, and if you want to follow somebody's profile and you want to become a follower, this is an automatic way of representing that data, and you can see how many people have followed different people. So you can go to the data source, and you can see that right here I have 25 different followers, and Nathan has 23 followers in our organization portal here at Passageways. You also have various other charting options that can also show you, member counts for, different roles. These could be, people who are in different portal roles, the roles that you create. You also have number of announcements and who posts the most number of announcements. So right here you can see that within Passageways, Sarah, it's posted 63 announcements, and that's a lot. I don't tend to post too many announcements, so you can see that I don't really have my name up there because this is just, I guess the number of announcements per user on a certain time frame. So these are some exciting new ways to represent portal data that you already have. So you don't even have to think about, what data to represent. You can use these examples to, certainly represent data to, make the portal more understood and the usage more analyzed. But you can also use this as examples for different managers in your organization who can just look at these and say, that's a good idea. I could use this for a certain project, or I could use a similar gauge for a certain something else. These visual cues, are very handy as people are trying to figure out how to use the dashboards within the portal. Remember, you have unlimited number of portal gauges and dials you can create in the portal. If you have the module, you can use it as often as you'd like. Next, this is again data that you have. I was just on a page where you were seeing portal traffic, public pages versus different pages, what people are typically using. Number of my pages in the portal, 290. Top 10 users with my pages. You can certainly actually look at who are the top 10 users right here. I have a lot of my pages in there. Rashmi actually really beats me there. And then you have number of public pages per work group, and you have all of that implemented, all of that displayed as well. This is very insightful data, I must say. After looking at this data, we were able to, gain insights that will help our internal portal here at Passageways as well. This particular page is set up to show you work group data. So work group managers, active work groups, number of, members in each work group, and then you certainly have active and inactive work groups, number of inactive users, and all kinds of good, interesting stuff that you'll actually really see here. Number of announcements per work group, so you know which work group or which department or team is actually using the portal for announcements and so on. So all this information, remember, once it's set up, you can just forget about it and it'll always work. You can always go back and check, and it'll show you data in real time. So that's the big benefit that you see here. I'm going to quickly just go back and get back to executive business reviews here. I'm going to ask Stephanie to tell us more about this new program that we've been working with, and the data that I just showed you, how this executive business reviews are going to get a huge boost here because now we have these options available in the portal. Stephanie, are you available?
I am. Thank you, Paroon. So some of you may be aware that certainly our team is very excited to share some updates around the executive business review process. This is certainly very relevant to the discussion we're having today around dashboards. As the goal here with this review is really to help you establish or reinforce your strategic alignment around your portal and keeping that consistent with the direction that you're moving as an organization. So during this process, certainly what we'll do is understand the direction that you're moving, as well as what you're doing in your portal today, and understand the specific targets or goals that you have that will help you keep that alignment moving forward and reinforce, again, the direction that you're moving as an organization. Some of the dashboard gauges and charts that Paroon just highlighted around your portal utilization are things that we will work with your team on to generate during the course of that executive review, or the EBR as we call it here internally. And so certainly that is something that with this particular tool we can establish not only during this process, but also extend for the purposes of ongoing tracking for the impact that your portal is having to your organization. It's a really great way if you don't have gauges or charts set up that you want to get started with. We can certainly work with you along those lines and start to track the actual value and the return that you're getting in your portal, again, toward the direction that you're moving. So for those of you who have already started that process with us, certainly we'll continue to come back and look at how we can integrate the dashboard component in now that this release has been available for all of our existing dashboard customers. For those of you who have not started the EBR process, just reach out to your CSM. We are happy to get this started, and so far the feedback from this has been extremely valuable for various teams to, again, get more out of the tool in a way that is meaningful and relevant for your organization today. There is not any additional charge. It's just something that we're doing as we are focused on your success, and we want this to be the most effective tool that it possibly can be for you. So again, reach out to your CSM. We can work with you utilizing the dashboard component and get you guys started. Just as a quick side note, there are a few different meetings that will help us prepare for it. So there is some commitment as far as pulling the respective teams together. But ultimately what we'll do is deliver a presentation for your executive team and your portal team, and then we'll work with you on new targets moving forward. So, Paroon, I don't know if you're going to jump back to any of those pages or charts again, but those are really great ways to illustrate, again, the strategic direction that you're moving, also the ways that your portal is currently helping you today, and then we can use that as a driver to continue moving that success forward.
If we get time, I'll take questions and I'll show you some of those pages in detail here. I just got a question and I answered that question. Naomi, I hope you got the answer there. But if you want to know the cost of dashboard or this particular module, since some of you guys don't have this module, certainly ask your CSM. It is $2,000 per year. We would love to actually really see some of you guys explore this further. We could, do another private session as well. Certainly, we'll work toward that. Now, if you already have the dashboard, which is, 2/3 of this crowd, remember that, the update doesn't require any extra charge. You already have it. Now you have some great options. It works really well, and, there is no extra charge. So call up your CSM, set up some time, and let's, have a fun 1-hour session where you can learn some of this. There's also training that we've already set up. And, if you go to help.passageways.com, you'll be able to sign up for some of the trainings that are set up specifically for dashboards. And you can learn, how to really make use of all the technology there. Now, I'm going to quickly jump to the next section of my presentation here and leave myself, maybe 5 minutes for questions. So the next section is, so we've seen, why dashboards are important. We've also seen some great options of how to, get to your dashboards. The fact is that, with the portal, framework, you have a great way to do targeted dashboards. So you can have a dashboard just for your teller staff. You can have a dashboard for your back office staff. You can have a dashboard set up for just people who are in sales roles. You certainly can use the portal roles format, roles permissions that are available for every module, and you could create some interesting, use cases for the dashboard technology. You can certainly, for example, the strategic plan could be the dashboard that you set up for everybody who's in senior management or middle management. You could have the portal engagement data dashboard be set up for everybody who's in the portal team. You can also have the help desk data be represented, somewhere on the portal, people who are help desk users and administrators. So those are some interesting things to keep in mind as well. You already always have that functionality of being able to target the information, start from, the landing page itself to, the work groups that they have. You can certainly influence exactly where these dashboards show up. Next, and I'm going to talk about something that's brand new. So this is the strategic planning matrix. So, I came clean today by saying that the dashboards are really not dashboards because they are just pages and you have to piece them together. Well, the strategic planning matrix is something that actually really gets us to give you prepackaged dashboards, if you will. I mean, just at least a good format to go through. So what you see here, and I'm going to show you this in just a second, when you are going through planning exercises, and most organizations, have planning done at the end of the year, and they start the year with a new plan for the year, and you're trying to, bring it home for your staff, at the intersection of planning and visualization, that's where this will fit. The strategic planning matrix is a project that you can take on with Passageways team. Our consulting team will actually work with you. We currently have Purdue Federal Credit Union already using some of this. In fact, there's a webinar coming up. I'll share the details shortly where the CEO at Purdue Fed, Bob, he's going to show us, how he's using it. But certainly this is, a great way to use, real estate on the portal to get everybody to think about your strategic plan. If you're going through a merger, there are several different pieces to planning the merger. You could use it just for the merger itself. If you're going through some major project, whether it's building a new branch or it's actually really, going through a charter change or what have you, all those major projects can actually really also use this planning matrix. And then there's, your core conversion project, which seems to be, something that, a lot of the organizations go through. The strategic planning matrix is a personal, project that, I love simply because, frankly, it's not easy to really use the dashboards technology to really kind of piece it all together. So what this does, it actually really kind of gives you a way to not just, look at data visualization, but really kind of piece it all together and help you define why we are doing what we are doing. In fact, there's a great TED Talk by Simon Sinek, and if you Google his name, you will see this TED Talk where he goes into great details on it's important to explain the why. Most of this is common sense. It's one of the better TED Talks that you'll ever sit through if you haven't seen this. And it talks about how great leaders really inspire action by explaining why we are doing this. The strategic planning matrix really, helps you get there in a great way. So I'm going to actually I'm going to show you that. But before I, do a quick overview of the strategic planning matrix, I want to make sure you guys know this. There is a follow-up webinar showing up on March 17th. We'll soon send you an email with the details of that. You can sign up for that. Also, if you sign up for Powwow, Bob is going to be there in person, and he's going to walk us through the journey of why he's so passionate about it and what he's going to get out of strategic planning matrix. So let me actually at this point, with no further ado, get to the planning matrix and show you that. Give me just a second here. I'm going to sign out. And like I said, the roles are a great way to do this. So I'm going to log in here as a different user, not as the portal admin. Let me log in here as Paroon, somebody in the senior management in this particular organization. So what you see here is, right off the bat, what I'm seeing here is a different login page. So what you see here is what we call the strategic planning matrix. Basically a pre-packaged format. It's very flexible, mind you, which allows you to have, your mission vision up top right here. You could use a rich text editor to really kind of put your, big goal for the year and so on. But then you can have a way, the software allows you to define the key strategies that you're going to actually really be focused on this year. And each one of these, you can further drill down. So when you click on any one of these, you actually really kind of see what the details, are that you want to share with your team. So this is the key strategy. These are the metrics and goals for this particular, strategy to come together. And then you have a way to list all the different tactics that you're going to, continue to do. And then you have the owner defined right here. You can do that with every one of these individual pieces. Now, if I expanded this, what you'll see is I can just click on this particular expand, button right there, and shows you the two key metrics that we're going to measure ourselves on. And what you see here is essentially just, the two main things are displayed right here. In fact, I want to make sure I actually really kind of just have, all of this loaded up. So what you see here is you certainly have, in fact, I am actually really having some trouble loading this. Like I said, this is a brand new project. What you see here is The strategy in this case being maintain an organization with honesty, integrity, pride, ownership, and mutual respect. And what you're seeing here is underneath that we have two different things. We are showing employee survey value responses, and then we're also showing mutual respect score. These are the two, the two key, ways we're going to measure ourselves. So real quick, this should have actually loaded up differently. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to actually quickly just go to, and you might have to, let me see. Let me try one more time. This is a newer project, like I said, right there. There it shows up. So what you see here is for each one of these key strategies, not only do you have the details, but you also have the best way to represent the progress on that. So what you see here is employee survey values are showing up right here. Mutual respect score is showing up right here. Now, if I go down and look at some of the other key strategies, you can see how we're using dashboards and gauges to show you a very high level of where this needs to be or what the goal is. Now, when I click on this, I did this in a moment back where it gives you the details and you can drill down and see all of this. You can certainly have this, but what we have done is we've given you a way to change some of these labels. So if you don't want to call it strategy, you want to call it by a different label, you don't want to call it metrics, and you want to call this by a different label, or the word tactics, you can change that. But what we found is most organizations, have a plan which has, these are the 3, 4, 5 main strategies. And then underneath that, you have, for each strategy, there are usually, a couple different metrics. And then there are various tactics. And, underneath these tactics, there might be certain projects. So you can certainly look at, doing that through this software. Now, when I go back in here and I click on the employee survey value, I can now drill down into not just the key indicator, the indicator that was showing up right next to it. That is the key performance indicator for that particular, strategy to work. What you're seeing here are some supporting indicators as well. So, oftentimes you can't just measure something with just one number. You have certain supporting numbers, and you can actually really now make it such that people drill down and they're able to get to all of those different pieces, rather easily. You also have the buttons to expand all and collapse all in, rather easy format right here. So your team could be doing that. This is a great way for you to really kind of just think about the overall business plan for the organization. And, we made it such that you don't have to use it for your entire business plan. You might already be using something for this. You can use this new, application for something like your core conversion. Maybe there are 10 things that you're trying to achieve and make sure that they don't really slip through the cracks. You make those, explicitly available here, and then allow people to drill down and get to what they need to look at. I can also, show you some of the details on how this comes together. I don't think I want to actually really get into too many details here. Like I said, this is somewhat new to us at this point. We are working with Purdue Federal, so if you come to that webinar, you'll see an actual example of how Purdue Federal is going to use this for their business plan for this particular year. If you guys think that, you might be able to do the same, certainly I would say sign up for that webinar. We'll be available to answer questions, and you can engage with our consulting team. Again, go back to your CSM, certainly to look at all of this for your needs. This doesn't have to be, your organization's plan itself. It could also be used for a merger that's coming up, or a major project, or the core conversion, and so on. So that's that. I think I've covered most of what I wanted to cover here. Stephanie, as we're winding down, could you do a quick little poll here, before we start to open up the lines for questions?
Yep, so you will see a poll up currently, which asks, first and foremost, do you like what you see with the dashboards, the new charts, and gauges? So looking forward to hearing some of the feedback from you here, and we've got some results that are coming in, again, pretty quickly. Just kind of a quick note, while the rest of you are participating, just a reiteration of what Paroon was talking about as far as powwow. We'll be able to share some details as far as the webinar coming up next month, where Bob Falk will be highlighting the strategic planning matrix. And, certainly we have information we can share with all of you as well as far as the sessions that will be taking place at Powwow. So hopefully we'll have you there with us in both of those sessions. Looks like we have the results in, and I'll share this with all of you as well. So what's really exciting to see is so far the feedback from you today has been very positive, and 100% of you are liking what you see with the Dashboards tool. So this is exactly what we want to hear. And, so we look forward to sharing some additional details with you. A couple of questions have come through from those of you who have it already, and you're asking how you can get started. Paroon will come back to that one in just a quick moment.
Is there another question? Are we done with all the questions here?
We do have one more quick question. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up and launch it for you also. Paroon did just kind of give you a sneak peek as far as the strategic planning matrix project that we've got going on with Purdue Federal. And again, that will be coming up in a more detailed review and how they're using that within their organization. That will come up on the 17th of March. So we'll have that information included in the email that will be sent as a follow-up to the session. So you can certainly jump in. And so far, again, we've got several responses coming in. Give us just a quick second here, and then we'll go ahead and close that out.
All right.
All right, here we go. So at this point in time, and I'll share all of that with you as well, everything is looking really positive. So it's great to hear from you that the things that our team is working on is translating into alignment with, what you're liking to see and what you want to see more of. So we will certainly be sharing more details with you. Again, look for the email to come following the session today, and then you will also have the invite there for the webinar that we'll be doing next month with Purdue Federal Credit Union.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if these guys are seeing the screen as well, so I'll just quickly share. 38% of them actually really said they liked the strategic planning matrix, and 63% of you guys said that you want to actually really see more information, which is but natural, and that's certainly what we are going for as well. Thank you. Now, to wrap this up, I don't really have too much other information. This is a slide that captures what's obvious, what's already been said. For Dashboard Module customers, there's a free upgrade to Dashboard. It's available right away. You can sign up for trainings at help.passageways or contact your CSM. If you're an organization that's considering dashboards, please contact your CSM, and we'll certainly be able to send you a price code and maybe set you up with a one-on-one presentation here. If you're thinking about strategic planning matrix, there's a webinar coming up on March 17th. You can also contact your CSM if there's active interest. If your needs are more immediate, certainly let us know and we can work with you. We'll be happy to work with at least a couple of you guys, right away, because we don't want to actually really, we are cognizant of the fact this is the start of the year, and you might want to use it for your entire plan for the year itself. That said, I think that's everything I have. I'll open the lines for questions at this point and be happy to really kind of just, take on questions you guys might have.
So for those of you who do have a question right now, we have everything muted. There's a couple of options for you in your GoToMeeting panel. Most likely on the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see a hand icon. And if you click on that, I can go ahead and unmute you and allow you to ask your question. If you are set up where you're listening through speakers rather than on a phone line, you can certainly present a question using the question mark icon, and then I can ask that on your behalf. So while we're waiting for just a quick minute here to see if there's any questions that are coming through, Paroon, you want to take a second and talk a little bit more about some of the items that are coming up with Powwow and the sessions?
I will do that
on
in
the
just
dashboard.
a second. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the things that I, couldn't find time to really kind of just show you today, and I'm very excited about, is the fact that we made this tool really easy. So, I wanted to show you just how easy we are talking about, and this is really something that, you could actually really do internally as often as you'd like. It's a real fun software to really kind of work with. We've made sure that this is, something that you guys, also look at. So, pick any one of these gauges. If you want to look at how easy it is to customize this, you have now the ability to really kind of just look at the various ways to represent that same data and flip through various options real quick and really kind of select what you want. And there are various options in any one of these too. So you can go and say, okay, I like a radial gauge, and this is, let me go through all the options that I have and really kind of just go and pick the right one for your needs and really kind of go from there. You also have a very easy way to go ahead and add these ranges. You can pick different colors, how you want to actually show the low, medium, and high. So those are some things that I couldn't cover. As you guys think about this, remember this is very easy and it's kind of fun to really kind of just work through. It's your chance to really shine in your team and really kind of just get everybody to get focused on the right numbers. So that's that. Stephanie, are we getting any questions? I don't really see any questions here. Are the lines open for people to be able to ask the question?
Yeah, there are no questions that have been raised so far, and so I think we may be good to go. Looks like, Paroon, you covered everything that anyone had questions on, or we took care of it during the session, so nice job.
I don't know about that, but I'll go with that.
Happy Wednesday.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the opportunity. Looking forward to hearing back from you. Thank you.
Thanks for attending today. Have a great rest of your week.